Football is remembered through trophies and statistics, but the moments that truly survive are different. They are the seconds people replay for decades: a free kick under impossible pressure, a goal that seems to stop time, or one decision that changes an entire legacy. This list is not simply about the best goals. It is about 10 moments that became part of football history and are still instantly recognizable around the world. Number 10. David Beckham's free kick against Greece, 2001. On October 6, 2001, England faced Greece at Old Trafford in their final World Cup qualifier. A draw would send England directly to the 2002 tournament, but Greece were leading 2-1 as the match entered stoppage time. David Beckham had spent the entire game trying to drag England forward. 3 years earlier, he had been blamed and abused after his red card against Argentina at the 1998 World Cup. Now the country needed him. England received a free kick around 25 yards from goal. Beckham stepped forward and curled the ball over the wall into the top corner. The score became 2-2, England qualified automatically, and Old Trafford erupted. It was more than a late equalizer. In one strike, Beckham completed his transformation from national villain to captain and hero. The pressure, the timing and the story behind it made the free kick unforgettable. Number 9. Cristiano Ronaldo's bicycle kick against Juventus, 2018. Cristiano Ronaldo had already scored almost every type of goal imaginable when Real Madrid traveled to Turin for a Champions League quarterfinal in April 2018. Real were leading when Dani Carvajal crossed the ball into the penalty area. Ronaldo launched himself into the air, connected with a perfect overhead kick and sent the ball beyond Gianluigi Buffon. For a moment, the stadium stopped reacting like a hostile away ground. Juventus supporters rose to applaud him. Ronaldo placed his hands together to thank them. The goal combined athleticism, technique and timing at the highest level. It also became strangely prophetic. Only a few months later, Ronaldo left Real Madrid and signed for Juventus. But even before that transfer, the image of him suspended in the air had already become one of the defining pictures of his career. Number 8. Zinedine Zidane's World Cup final headbutt, 2006. The 2006 World Cup final should have been the perfect ending to Zinedine Zidane's career. France faced Italy in Berlin, and Zidane opened the scoring with one of the boldest penalties ever taken in a final, a Panenka that struck the crossbar and crossed the line. Marco Materazzi equalized, and the match went into extra time. Then, in the 110th minute, Zidane and Materazzi exchanged words. Zidane walked away, turned around and drove his head into Materazzi's chest. The referee did not initially see the incident, but after consulting his officials, he showed Zidane a red card. In the final match of his career, one of football's most elegant players left the field after one of the sport's most shocking acts. The lasting image was Zidane walking past the World Cup trophy without touching it. Italy won the penalty shootout 5-3. Instead of ending with Zidane lifting the trophy, his career ended with a slow walk down the tunnel. Number 7. Diego Maradona's goal of the century, 1986. The 1986 World Cup quarterfinal between Argentina and England produced two of the most famous goals in history, both scored by Diego Maradona. 4 minutes after the controversial hand of God, Maradona received the ball inside his own half. He turned, accelerated and began a run that seemed to cut through the entire England team. He carried the ball for roughly 60 meters, beat a series of defenders, rounded goalkeeper Peter Shilton and finished into the net. The move lasted only seconds, but it displayed everything that made Maradona extraordinary: balance, close control, speed, strength and total confidence. Argentina won 2-1 and later became world champions. In 2002, a FIFA poll named it the goal of the century. The controversial first goal showed Maradona's cunning. The second showed his genius. Number 6. Germany defeat Brazil 7-1, 2014. Brazil entered the 2014 World Cup semifinal carrying the expectations of an entire nation. They were playing at home, but Neymar was injured and captain Thiago Silva was suspended. Even so, almost nobody could have predicted what happened in Belo Horizonte. Thomas Muller scored after 11 minutes. Then Germany scored 4 more goals between the 23rd and 29th minutes. Brazil were 5-0 down before half an hour had been played. The crowd moved from confidence to disbelief, then to tears. Germany eventually won 7-1. Miroslav Klose also scored his 16th World Cup goal, breaking the tournament's all-time record, and doing it in Brazil. The result became known in Brazil as the Maneraco. It was not simply a defeat. It was the heaviest loss Brazil had suffered in a World Cup, delivered on home soil in a semifinal. The scoreboard alone became one of the most unforgettable images in football history. Number 5. Leicester City win the Premier League, 2016. At the start of the 2015-16 season, Leicester City were widely priced at 5,000 to 1 to win the Premier League. They had narrowly avoided relegation the previous year, and Claudio Ranieri's appointment was not treated as the beginning of a title challenge. But Leicester kept winning. Jamie Vardy scored in a record 11 consecutive Premier League matches. Riyad Mahrez produced the best season of his career. N'Golo Kanté seemed to cover every blade of grass. Wes Morgan and Kasper Schmeichel gave the team leadership and stability. On May 2, 2016, Tottenham needed to beat Chelsea to keep the title race alive. Spurs led 2-0, but Chelsea came back to draw 2-2. Leicester were champions without even playing that night. The following weekend, Ranieri and his players lifted the trophy. It remains one of the greatest underdog achievements in team sport. A club that had been fighting relegation became English champions one season later. Number 4. Sergio Aguero's 93-20 goal, 2012. Manchester City entered the final day of the 2011-12 Premier League season knowing a victory over Queen's Park Rangers would secure their first league title in 44 years. But as the match moved into stoppage time, City were losing 2-1. Manchester United had already beaten Sunderland and were waiting for the final whistle. City's dream appeared to be over. Edin Dzeko equalized in the 92nd minute. Then, with the clock at 93 minutes and 20 seconds, Mario Balotelli slipped the ball to Sergio Aguero. The Argentine took one touch, stayed on his feet and smashed his shot past Paddy Kenny. The Etihad Stadium exploded. City won 3-2 and took the title from United on goal difference. The commentary, Aguero, became inseparable from the goal. There have been later winners and dramatic title races, but no league championship has ever been decided in quite the same way, with one goal on the final day changing the champion in the final seconds. Number 3. Andrés Iniesta wins the World Cup for Spain, 2010. Spain entered the 2010 World Cup with an extraordinary generation but had never won the tournament. In the final against the Netherlands, the match became tense, physical and increasingly desperate. After 90 goalless minutes, the final went into extra time. With penalties approaching, Cesc Fabregas found Andrés Iniesta inside the penalty area in the 116th minute. Iniesta controlled the ball and drove his shot past Martin Stecklenburg. He removed his shirt and revealed a tribute to his late friend Donny Jarque. 4 minutes later, Spain were world champions for the first time. The goal completed the greatest period in Spanish football history, between their European Championship victories in 2008 and 2012. For a country that had spent decades falling short, Iniesta's strike was the moment everything changed. Number 2. Diego Maradona's Hand of God, 1986. In the 51st minute of Argentina's World Cup quarterfinal against England, Diego Maradona moved toward a loose ball inside the penalty area. Goalkeeper Peter Shilton came out to punch it clear. Shilton was much taller, but Maradona reached the ball first, not with his head, but with his left hand. The referee awarded the goal despite England's protests. After the match, Maradona described it as being scored, a little with the head of Maradona and a little with the hand of God. The phrase gave the goal its permanent name. The moment remains one of football's greatest controversies. It involved deception, missed officiating and a politically charged match played only 4 years after the Falklands War. Argentina won 2-1, and Maradona led them to the World Cup title. It was not the most beautiful goal of his career. It was not even legal. But few moments have been replayed, debated and remembered more often. Number 1. Lionel Messi lifts the World Cup, 2022. By 2022, Lionel Messi had won almost everything available in football. The World Cup was the final major gap in his career, and at 35 years old, Qatar appeared to be his last realistic opportunity. Argentina began with a shocking defeat to Saudi Arabia, then recovered to reach the final against France. What followed was one of the greatest World Cup finals ever played. Messi scored from the penalty spot and Ángel Di María made it 2-0. Kylian Mbappé scored twice in 2 minutes to force extra time. Messi scored again. Mbappé completed his hat-trick. After 120 minutes, the score was 3-3. Argentina won the penalty shootout 4-2. Messi had finally won the World Cup, ending Argentina's 36-year wait for the trophy. The defining image came during the celebration. Wearing a ceremonial black bisht over his Argentina shirt, Messi lifted the trophy as his teammates surrounded him and fireworks filled the stadium. It was not only a championship celebration, it was the completion of a career story that had lasted nearly 2 decades. For millions of fans, the moment settled the final argument about Messi's place in football history. 10 moments, 10 images that football will never forget. Which one deserves the number 1 spot? Subscribe to Peak Selects for more football stories, records and unforgettable moments.